Hi and welcome back to Main Mission Hope. My name's Rob and I'm so glad you're here. This channel is for anyone who's new to Christianity or maybe like me, returning to the faith after being away for a while. My goal is to hopefully humbly offer answers to questions you might have about God, Jesus, the Bible and Christian life. Today I want to explore a deep and meaningful topic. Why did God choose the Jews to be his chosen people in the Old Testament? And why did he lead them to the promised land? This is a story that's serious. It's about God's justice and purpose, but it's also full of hope, showing us how God worked through history to bring light into our lives. So let's dive in. To understand why God chose the Jews, I need to take you back to a man called Abraham. In the book of Genesis, chapter 12, verses 1 through 3, God speaks to Abraham and makes an incredible promise. He says, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. This moment marks the beginning of a covenant, a sacred agreement between God and Abraham. Through Abraham's descendants, who would become the Jewish people, God set a plan in motion. But why them? Why the Jews? I've wrestled with this question, and here's what I've discovered. It wasn't because they were more special or more deserving than anyone else. No, God chose them for a purpose, to be a light to the world and to carry out his mission of redemption. After Adam and Eve sinned, humanity fell into darkness, separated from God. And it was a world without hope, lost and wandering. But God didn't abandon us. He chose the Jews to reveal himself to the world, to show his love, his justice and his truth. Through them, he gave us the law, the prophets, and most importantly, the Messiah, Jesus Christ. In Romans 9:4-5, Paul writes, theirs is the adoption to sonship. Theirs the divine glory, the covenants, the receiving of the law, the temple worship and the promises. Theirs are the patriarchs, and from them is traced the human ancestry of the Messiah, who is God over all, forever praised. The Jews were chosen to be a blessing to all nations. I find that so hopeful. It means God's love isn't limited to one group, it's for everyone. Through the Jews, through the Israelites, he was preparing the way for Jesus, who would offer salvation to us all. It's a heavy responsibility they carried, but it's also a beautiful privilege. Now, let's talk about the promised land. In Genesis 15:18-21, God expands his promise to Abraham, saying that his descendants would inherit a specific place, the land of Canaan. The Bible describes it as a land flowing with milk and honey, a place of abundance and peace. But, why did God give them this land, and why did he make the journey so long to get there? The promised land wasn't just about geography, it was a gift with deep meaning. It represents God's faithfulness, proof that he keeps his promises. It was a place where the Israelites could worship him freely, away from the idols and false gods of other nations. It was also where they could build a nation under his laws, showing the world what it looks like to live in relationship with God. But the road to the promised land wasn't easy. After God freed the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. We can try, but it would be pretty difficult to imagine how hard that must have been, facing hunger, doubt and danger. Yet there was purpose in it. In Deuteronomy 8:2, God says, remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his commands. That journey was a test of faith and obedience. God was teaching them to trust him, to rely on him completely, and when they finally entered the promised land, it was a moment of triumph, a sign that God's promises are worth waiting for, even when the path is tough. So, why did God choose the Jews and lead them to the promised land? I believe it's because he had a plan to bring hope to a broken world. The Jews were his chosen people, not for their own sake, but to prepare the way for Jesus, who would save us all. The promised land was a sign of his faithfulness, a place where his people could grow into the nation he called them to be. As a Christian, we can find so much hope in this story. It reminds us that God is always working, even in the hardest moments, to bring us closer to him. Just as he led the Israelites to the promised land, he's leading you and me to a future filled with purpose and peace. Thank you for joining me today on Main Mission Hope. If this video spoke to you, please like, share and subscribe. I'd love to keep exploring faith with you. Wherever you are in your journey, know this: God loves you and he has a plan for you. Until next time, may God bless and keep you.